Melissa has been an ambassador locally and internationally for Hawaii's rare plants and animals over the last 15 years and as an artist for the last 5. Melissa has been commissioned by royalty of the Middle East, and her international acclaim has won her invitations from around the world to contribute her art toward healing our spirits and restoring our social and ecological communities. Melissa Chimera.
Thank you, everyone. What you see around you is a collection of Hawaiian species from diverse areas such as the Nepali coast, Haleakala National Park, and the Waianae Mountains. And then when I entered the field of conservation and forestry, I learned the real story about who our true kama'aina are and how many of their kin had been lost, more so than any other place in the United States, and that this place is truly the extinction capital of our country and certainly one of the world. And so this is really dedicated to you, this series. And I would really like to give thanks to my #1 champion, Michelle Clark, here at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I would also like to thank Rich Richardson, right here, the director of Mark's Garage, and all of the staff, Ryan, everyone, as well as the Hawaii Conservation Alliance staff and the Department of Land and Natural Resources. And I would like to finally thank and introduce my mother, Adele Ne Jame. She's the recipient of the National Endowment for the Arts for Poetry, the Pablo Neruda Prize for Poetry, and the author of several collections of poetry, including Fieldwork, Land and Inheritance, Land and Spirit, and her latest book, The South Wind. But I just know her as Mom. My mother's poetry is lush and evocative, and it is really, truly the source for my love of the natural world. And our poetry and painting collaboration for the 2009 Sharjah Biennial, which is before you now in this room, is a project that brought the remote Hawaiian forest and wilderness and the spirit of those lands 10,000 miles round trip to an audience in the Arabian desert, if you can imagine. These flowers bloomed there. And I've never been happier or more proud to introduce to you my love, my mother, and the poet and Hawaii Pacific University Professor Adele Ne Jame.
This poem is called A Shuv Lament, and there is a quote that starts in an epigram by Darwish, which is, "Celebrate your land's spring and set yourself aflame like its flowers. You wonder what you will do without the cedars, the winding road up the mountain, even the vegetables stand on the side of it, with the young boy piling okra and green beans into his baskets to sell there, his whole shoof life ahead of him, at least you'd like to think. What will you do without the almond tree and the mulberry and the March sun and the mountain wind shaking everything here alive, the red earth, the red clouds moving over the village terraced into the side of the mountain, the sun insatiable, and the Hopi that flutters her way up through the red clouds to the snowy cedars, the blasted roses in the rock gardens that are gathered by the villagers and distilled into perfume to wash the bodies of the dead. This is what you find in the high places, the flourish of spring, and the violence that hangs in the red air, the wind-blown cedars not far above the abandoned stone houses, Arabic script on the rotting windowsill, homage to the ones marched into a snowy field, their names inscribed on the wall at St. Michelle's, where William rang the bells beautifully one morning, so that we might forget for a moment how like the fields of the wild red anemone, we are waving our songs in the air before night falls.